guys, to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're going vegetarian with a delicious express version of my fasolada soup. This is a white bean soup that has a tomato base. It's loaded with nutrition, it's hearty, it's delicious. You can freeze it, so I do recommend that you make a double or even a triple batch so that way you could have it on hand for those busy days when you don't have any time to cook. It comes together in way less than an hour and you guys are gonna love it. Let's get started. So this soup, just like almost all others, starts with the trifecta of ingredients. We're gonna use 2 celery stalks that I'm gonna finely chop, 3 carrots. You could use 3 celery stalks if they're small, 3 carrots, an onion, and also garlic. Garlic goes in that. I'm going to use 5 or 6 garlic cloves, and I'm going to begin by finely chopping this onion. So the onion is ready, finely chopped. Now I'm going to go ahead and chop up the carrot as well. I'm not going to finely chop it because I do like bigger pieces of carrot in the soup. This soup, every single time I make it, whether it's the traditional one with the dried beans that does take a little bit longer to cook, it reminds me of my dad because when we go to Greece in the summertime, he's usually the one cooking for us. He loves to cook. We're usually at the beach. We come home around lunchtime and there's a meal ready for us on the table. He makes this fasolada at least twice while we're there, and even though my kids are not huge fans of beans, they always love the way my dad makes it because he cooks with love. And I feel like when you cook with love, everything tastes better. So this fasolada, since we're using canned beans, is going to come together in like 30-40 minutes, basically under an hour. You cannot beat that. Carrots are done. Now we're going to chop the celery. That is done. Now I have 6 cloves of garlic and I'm just gonna roughly chop those. I don't like to grate the garlic in this recipe because I like the sweetness of the garlic when it cooks with the vegetables, when it's gonna cook with the onions and the carrots and the celery. It's just gonna get a nice mellow flavor. If you like more of a sharp garlicky flavor, then go ahead and grate the garlic and don't put it in until all of the vegetables are cooked. This is gonna go in with all the veggies and it's gonna cook together. So I'm gonna put all of the veggies in the pot. And the pot is heating over medium heat. And I'm going to season them with a little pinch of salt. You want to season every layer of your food with salt so that way it has maximum flavor. Then I'm going to add about 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. Give everything a nice mix. I'm going to cover the pot and I'm going to let this cook for about 10 to 12 minutes or until the veggies are really nice and soft. Go in and mix it often so that way nothing sticks to the bottom and burns or gets too dark brown. While that's happening, I have 2 cans of great northern beans. You can use cannellini beans or even navy beans. Any white bean will do for this. If you really want to boil your own, you can definitely do that a day ahead of time, or even if you soak it the night before, you can boil the beans in the morning and make the soup. It is not going to be the express version, obviously, because it takes about an hour for beans to cook, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how fresh they are. Anyway, I'm going to open up these cans, drain out the liquid that they're sitting in, and I'm just going to give them a little bit of a rinse with cold water, not too much, and then once the veggies are done, we're going to put it all together. So I let the veggies cook for 12 minutes so they can get nice and soft. At this point, I have a can of crushed tomatoes. You can use any tomatoes you want. You can even use fresh tomatoes and grate them on a box grater, or you can use diced or whole tomatoes and just puree them in the blender. I'm just going to add a little pinch of sugar. This is about 1/2 teaspoon or so because canned tomatoes tend to be a little bit on the acidic side. We're going to add some salt, some black pepper, crushed red pepper flakes for heat if you want it, otherwise leave it out, dried oregano, mix everything up. And now it's time to add the rinsed canned beans. And I like to add plain water. I'm going to cover the beans all the way up to the top. If you want to, you can use vegetable broth. Okay, we're gonna bring the mixture up to a boil. Once it boils, I'm gonna reduce the heat back to medium, and I'm gonna let everything cook for about 15 minutes until the soup starts to thicken, the beans are fully cooked, and all of the flavors come together. You can definitely cook it up to 20 minutes, then go in and give it a taste, adjust the seasoning if it's needed, and we're gonna finish it off with some parsley. So 15 minutes have passed that the soup has been cooking and simmering away. I did do it on a little bit higher heat. I didn't put it on a simmer, on a low. It was more of a medium because I did want it to thicken up a bit and for the vegetables to cook really nicely. The seasoning is perfect, doesn't need anything else. I finally chopped some parsley and I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle it into the soup. Give it a nice mix, and there you have it. Fasolada made in 30 minutes. You saw it here right before your eyes. It's that simple. Does not get easier than that. You can have this dinner on the table, like I said, in under an hour. If you like to meal prep, this is perfect. At this point, if you're meal prepping and you made a double batch, take some out so that way it can cool down, and then put it in airtight containers that are perfect for the freezer. Freeze it up, put it in the freezer. It's gonna stay fresh up to 3 months. Then when you're ready to use it, if you like to prepare ahead of time, and if you're very organized, unlike me, then what you would do is put the frozen soup in the refrigerator to thaw overnight, the night before that you know that you're gonna use it. Otherwise, if you wanna do it last minute, you could put it in like a bowl of warm water and just keep changing out that water. Then just warm it through over the stovetop. It might thicken a little bit more, so you could always thin it out with a little bit more broth or water. Adjust the seasoning, and you will have a meal in your freezer for a while. So definitely make a bigger batch. It is time to do the taste test. I like to serve this with some feta and olives on the side and some nice toasted bread, but you can definitely serve this with the feta and olives also, a little squeeze of lemon juice or vinegar. Vinegar goes really nice in it too. Let me give it a little taste. It smells amazing. It's still burning hot though. Let's hope it's blowing it a little bit. So comforting and delicious. I'm gonna have to finish this bite. Perfect for Meatless Monday. It is important to get those nutrients in, and soups are the best way to do it. I like my soups a little bit on the thinner side, more brothy. If you like it thicker, either cook it down a little bit longer or add less broth. It is going to thicken up as it sits because the beans are gonna go and absorb all of that delicious broth. Of course, I'm gonna sprinkle some feta cheese over this. I'm waiting for my bread to come out of the oven, and we are going to enjoy lunch in just a few minutes. You guys can go on over to the website, dimitrasdishes.com, to print this recipe out. All the exact measurements and everything you need is gonna be on there. The link is in the description box right underneath this video. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. If you have any questions, comments, or special requests, let me know in the comment section. I read them all and I try to get back to as many as I can. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, us.